Here's a little commentary about me and vision. It's Majo John Madden in El Diamante, Mexico. 3 years ago, when I went to the country, my glasses got broken. And I was in the middle of a big back to nature phase. I had gotten off all my psych meds that I'd been taking for 30 years. I was very excited about being clean and green. In the last 3 years, I've probably taken Tylenol or aspirin 6 times. Once for a very bad concussion. Nothing else, nada. When doctors prescribe antibiotics, I say, no, I think I'll heal it myself, and then I do. So when my glasses got broken, I had never liked a sheet of plastic between me and the world. I'm big into being one with the world. And I had tried contacts, never could get used to having them in my eyes. So when my glasses got broken, I said, good, we won't wear them. It was a year later in New Orleans that I saw an optician who said, you're 20/20 in your right eye, but 2200 in your left eye. You're legally blind. I hope you're not driving. And I said, I drive actually extremely well because I've learned to really pay attention. She says, let me know where you're driving. I'll avoid that area. But I wouldn't get glasses. I considered twice, but I did not like them at all. So I've not worn glasses for 3 years. And at a distance, everything is blurry for me. Which I like also because I want to get in close. And I also like that at a distance, I can't read people's facial expressions anymore. So I've given up trying. And don't play to the audience. I just say what I want to say and do what I want to do, which is great for me. And it avoids projections. You know, people label people at a distance and say, oh, this person is that kind of person. And I'm not sure yet if that's a fire hydrant or a person, you know? So I wait until I get in with them and have some engagement with them and then see how I feel about them. But a thing that has confused me, why do I see so many more butterflies than birds? Is that there's a lot fewer birds in the world? It's movement. My eyes track movement really well, especially in the sunshine. So butterflies, moths out in this field, at 50 yards, I can track a moth exactly. Tiny little moth. Well, it's because the sun hitting them and all the movement, all the fluttering. So I like that. And my eyes have gotten progressively stronger. At first, bright lights shining at me when I was driving totally blinded me. And the worst offense was I did get on the interstate going the wrong way in Burnsville. And it was at night, so there was not much traffic, and I managed to turn around and get off. But I drive actually pretty well at night. Yeah. Up there in Appalachia, if it was dark and I had to get back to where we were staying up in the mountains, I would wait until a car went by and hop on their taillights and follow those 2 little red dots. There's a moth. You really see that, or a butterfly. I see it so well out there. Probably the camera doesn't see it as well as I do. Yeah, follow the red lights, and inevitably they would decide they wanted to do 70 on a twisty, tiny little mountain road where I could not see anything but their taillights. And I had to stay tight. I had to stay right with them, or I would not be able to drive because it's just too dark. So that was good training to be a Le Mans race car driver. Okay, so that's my little rumination about me and vision. Oh, the other thing is, I for a while participated in something called Science of Spirituality. It's not Science of Mind, which is kind of big time power of positive thinking churches. Science of Spirituality is much more esoteric and tiny. They are followers of a guru in the western suburbs of Chicago. He comes from a lineage of Sikh. Sikh are the kind of mystical wing of Islam. The great Persian poets were Sikhs, Rumi, etc. And this guy came from lineage. His grandfather had been apparently a great spiritual teacher, and his father had been a famous poet and a beautiful, mystical poet. As far as I could tell, he just grandfathered in. It never should have happened. I think it was a big mistake. He never impressed me at all. But that, I tried. I kept trying for a year because I was on my drugs and in the throes of believing I had mental illness. And I was grasping at straws, anything to keep me afloat. And a friend was in, and 3 of us, additional friends of his, got in at the same time, and we formed a men's group, the 4 of us that still, I don't think they meet anymore, but it met for 20 years or 25 years, mostly long distance. So I tried that stuff, and that stuff says you're supposed to get quiet inside and look for the spiritual light and listen for the spiritual sound. Now, my friend Tom, who is the one most immersed in that stuff, has confirmed for me that the sound I always hear most easily is a humming that I think is just my brain. I'm just hearing the action of my brain. And he says, yeah, probably that's it. That's not the real thing. But for the last several years, 2-3 years, I will at moments of great quiet hear a lower, deeper hum. And I'm convinced that's the sound they're talking about. But my spin on all that is that the way to get spiritual through sounds is don't judge any sounds. That first year in the mountains, I loved the crickets and the mountain streams and did not like motorcycles and weed whackers. And the message I got was, don't judge. Let all those mechanical sounds be the bass line, and the natural sounds be the treble clef, and let them all wash over you equally. Don't get engaged in saying this is good and that's bad. And with vision, the spiritual practice around light is don't judge anything you see. Don't judge anybody. Don't judge anything. Just look at it all peacefully and lovingly. So I like looking at things. I like being in nature a lot. Now I don't know how well you can see that butterfly or moth, but I am tracking it. When it gets down in the green, I don't see it as well. When it goes up in the air, and I've got sky behind it, I can see it really good. So, all my breakfast is ready. Sarah, the server, said I had 5 minutes, and I just shot an 8-minute video. So, okay. Andale. Andale. I love the word andale because the first time I got illegally into Mexico, the agent, who was just too busy at the border crossing in McAllen, big commercial crossing, just too busy to get around to looking at my tags, which are expired, when she said, andale, like, get out of here, get going. Love that word. Love that word. That was music to my ears that day. All right, that was my first crossing. I didn't have money in my pocket to really go. It was totally on a whim. Life said, well, you don't know about this border crossing. It's a big commercial crossing. Maybe they'll just let you slide through. But I couldn't really stay across. I didn't have money to buy gas even. And I knew that you were not supposed to stay in those border towns, which are more dangerous. So I just drove 4 hours through Mexico over to my other favorite crossing and went back in. That was my little practice crossing. But it was miraculous. It was totally miraculous being in Mexico. Spectacular. Okay, bye.